try to make this one short and sweet, but here's the backyard tour for April of 2021. And it does, there's some change. It looks different. For one thing, all my seedlings are over here. And the reason for that is we are making some progress in our garden expansion, but unfortunately not as quick as I would like. And so some of these are really struggling to hold on. Some of the cold weather crops are going to flower, and that's not a good thing. They're bolting, but I'm doing my best to keep them alive. Some of them they're not going to make it into the garden beds. It's too late in the season, and others are getting really big. So we need to move forward with our project back here. We did have our trees trimmed, so that's the good news. In fact, there's part of the mulch that was left from shredding the bark. Half of it's still on the front lawn. So we've got to hustle our fannies and get it all back here because it's kind of impeding us moving forward on some other stuff. So here's a quick view. The Meyer lemon doesn't look too much different. There's a pittosporum there by that ladder. It's looking a lot better. But the beauty is this California pepper, which is not a favorite tree of mine for a lot of reasons, but I think the arborists just did an incredible job making it look lovely. The unfortunate thing is they removed all the volunteers that were up there against that wall, and that was what we wanted them to do, but now of course we have no privacy. So we are looking at some options. One might be a wood topper for that block wall, or possibly, I really don't think we can get plants to grow quickly enough. We are going to do some planting back there, but I think it's going to have to be a wood topper. This is the only yard that we have a short wall with. We did have it on one of the other, we have 3 neighbors that we butt up against. One of the others had it when we moved in, but the other 2 neighbors have pools, and so both of those their walls are higher. So this is the only one left that isn't. So all of our crap is kind of pushed up against the wall here because there's no lawn here, so it's not going to be in the way if my husband needs to mow. But you can see the garden beds. There's the green ones that I painted black, and then the gunmetal ones, which right now I don't plan to paint, but once we put everything together, if they look out of place, I will paint those. And there's our patio table, and down here is a little iron chandelier that we will be hanging over the patio table and putting some battery operated candles on and operating that through remote control. So there's volunteers still left from the pepper. There's one group right there, and if I had my druthers, that would be gone, but we had a limited budget with our tree trimming, and so we opted to just try to make lemonade out of our lemons and just make the volunteers look a little better and work with them. So that's one set. And then we did not have some trees trimmed because, again, money. So this bottle brush was not trimmed. They did trim our 2 orange trees. Pardon the lighting, it's getting late, and so I'm losing some light. This is the Valencia, and they don't have to do much because it's a pretty small tree. It doesn't ever get really big. But in the back there is more pepper volunteers. That's where the chandelier will hang from. And then our beautiful navel orange tree. They did a wonderful job trimming it, and it looks really great, and it smells amazing, and it has a gazillion blooms on it. So I'm really excited about our oranges. So this is the broken up concrete that we're going to be setting in gravel, which will be eventually installed in here, and it'll go back in that corner, and that's where our patio table will go. So there's a little more concrete back there. So the concrete is going to form kind of the floor. They call that urbanite. And so we still have a lot of the debris here from tearing up the lawn here. We haven't torn up all the lawn though, because if we were to take all of this out, it would be a nightmare to be using that wheelbarrow to move the mulch from the driveway out into that back corner. So this is kind of on hold, and we got to give a big, the big heave-ho to the mulch to get that done. And surprisingly, I thought this part would be really easy for my husband to dig up because the grass has been covered for over a year and has had pots on it. But it is dead, but the problem we're having is we had a very large established Nandina plant right here in the corner, and it left behind some really gnarly roots. which are just making it really hard for him to dig up. But again, he doesn't have to deal with that right now. Hopefully we'll get back to that by next weekend. Meanwhile, we have turned our cabinet here, and it fits kind of better than I expected it to, right there between our covered patio and our sliding glass door. I do need to paint the boards there that are not painted. I don't know how those got passed over. I think that we probably installed new wood at some point and never primed those, which was probably dumb. But anyway, we'll take care of that. And then all of our plants, I don't remember if I mentioned that our fruit trees all got bumped up from nursery pots into these larger pots, and I think they're happier for it. So they all look pretty good. I have a fig here, brown turkey fig. I have a peach, and then a Eureka lemon, and then Mexican lime back there, and then that is an apple tree. So the bench here I originally thought would be going next to the cabinet, right there against that wall, but it's just deep enough that I'm concerned that it's going to narrow the pathway between the bed. There's going to be a bed right here, so I may be rethinking that. Meanwhile, we're using it to kind of hold up these boards as we paint them. They are primed on one side, and we're just starting to put the brown stain or paint onto the other side. They're going to be used as the divider between the lawn and the gravel. So they're the same size as this wood. They were what I had been using to elevate my pots when they were over on the landscape fabric, just for drainage. But they're not going to lay flat like this. We've got these flat just to make it easier to push the wheelbarrow through this area right here. But we're going to turn them on their side, and I'll insert a little picture of what we're going for. But they're going to go the length of this whole area. So one thing I didn't point out is I've moved the trellis. It was back further in the garden, but it's going to be the entry point now into this area. So it doesn't really frame any kind of view in particular, but you'll look through it and it just makes kind of a passage. And then, as I mentioned, in the corner there will be the the patio table, dining area, and the chandelier will hang from a branch up there. Interestingly, about 11 years ago, when we had our trees trimmed, we had all those volunteers removed of the pepper tree. And my first garden, I think I've mentioned it in a previous video, that my first garden was in that corner. I may pop that photo in again here. So, as we go along, the good thing about having to wait a little bit to get the mulch all moved is it gives me a little more time to deal with the cinder blocks. I still have to move all this stuff here because this is not going to stay where it is, and also it's going to be in the way for grading. So I don't think I'm going to be moving the parsley. I think the parsley's looking like it's starting to be done, and just plant new. But the mint, I don't do so well growing mint from seed, so I'm going to try to save the mint. And the thyme is so beautiful. I have two different kinds here actually, a lemon thyme and a regular thyme. I'm going to try to save the thyme. Not so much the tarragon down here. I think I still have an old basil down there, but those I don't really need to keep. So this is going to be a chore. It might take me a couple of days, maybe longer. Thankfully, this one doesn't have much in it because, and I've mentioned, when I first planted this one out, I did research on what herbs could be in the shade, but apparently this area was just much too shady, and the only guy that did good was this big guy, Salad Burnett. Everything else that I planted, I tried cilantro. I thought cilantro would be good in a shady area, but it did not do well. So, and these two are, this is lemon balm, and the lemon balm did not do well. Now it's doing better because with the tree being trimmed, it's getting a lot more sun here. And then I had chamomile here, which I had no idea had reseeded. It completely died out, and I actually had started chamomile from seed because I had no idea that this was going to surprise me and come back. So this bed is just leftovers from the previous seasons. It's got a lot of peas, which are a delight, and they'll just stay here as a placeholder until we're ready to move forward. I have some stuff going to seed because they're all cool weather crops that just went in too late, and we're starting to get really hot weather here. We've had a lot of 90s We've hit the 90s the last few days, or within the last week, pardon my fingers. We've also got radishes here. I've got to pull those out. They're getting pretty big. I've got to get rid of this guy. It's a Thai basil. I want to be able to collect the seeds from these browned out flower stalks. But this whole thing's going away. It's from my very, very first garden, and it's seen too many rains and it's falling apart. These are sweet peas. I'm pleased to have gotten to this point. I have never grown sweet peas and successfully gotten as far as these have. But I'm concerned because we do have hot weather and I don't know what to do with them. And I think I also, I'm almost positive that I've overplanted. I think that it should have been way less in here, but it is what it is. So I'm gonna do my best to keep those alive. I have carrots over here. I have a few peppers and some milkweed over there. And I have some borage here, which is actually getting ready to give me some blossoms. I think I didn't point out I have a little kale back there. I have some chard over here. More peas. I've loved how many pea plants I've had because I've been just, I've had so many peas. I don't even have to worry about, oh, I'm only gonna get one today. Look at, I just found a whole bunch more, and I already picked off of this today, but there's more peas on this that are, I must not have seen them because they're green. Ooh, yum, they're my snack. So I have a few lettuces in here, and these actually were from the 99-cent store. They came with roots on them, so I just popped them in the ground. I pick off of them, but I think it's about time now to just pull the whole heads out. Broccoli rabbit went to seed, and a little cabbage that never will make it, I don't think. This is a thornless raspberry. It's called, raspberry shortcake, and it's looking pretty good. I have a second bare root raspberry, which is got a lot of leaves on it, so that tells me it really should have, it's not bare root, excuse me, it's in a container, but I do need to find a place for that. And then same thing, this one's bare root though. This is an almond tree I found on clearance. No leaves on it, which makes me feel a little bit better about not having it out of its bag yet, but still, I know where I want to put it. I just need to make the time to do it. I've been so distracted with that stinking mulch pile. Now my blueberries, I've been wanting to move and have not gotten around to, and I just feel like this pot is just too small for them. But much to my surprise, I've got a ton of little blueberries on here. I'm just shocked. I've never had that many on there. I don't know if the birds will try to get them when they color up, so I'm gonna have to try to remember to cover them. Some more of that dying old basil I need to pull out. Some old kale that's gonna be coming out. And this here's a cover crop of buckwheat that I believe I'm supposed to just turn under. I'm gonna have to look that up on Google. I can't remember, but I think you don't pull that out, you just turn it under. And then a bunch of little pots here that don't belong here, but that were here because we had some rain. And I just love not having to water stuff, so I always move my pots over here and try to take advantage of the rain. And surprise, 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 my potatoes are growing. I'm so excited. Now I meant to succession plant potatoes, and yet this is the only bag of potatoes I have going. So I'm kind of bummed that I haven't gotten any new ones going, but again, I just, been so busy. These, I think, need more dirt on them because my understanding is you keep putting dirt and raising the height of the dirt. So that at least I can do. That won't take me long. Here's an old kale that's on its last legs. These are my little native sun plants that I thought would make great little topiaries, and they are just not doing well. I think that it's something to do with the soil. They're in a very sandy soil. Probably they don't like having their feet wet. I haven't really researched them, but I'm thinking that because they're in a sandy soil, I should be watering them more frequently, which feels counterintuitive because they're drought tolerant. But I think if they'd gone in the ground, they would be fine. But since they're in pots, they probably need more water. I don't know, but I'm feeling very failure-ish at how bad they look. And then over here, my strawberry towers are looking excellent. They've got lots and lots of fruit on them, and I'm really pleased with how well they're doing. And I'm really excited to be able to move them off this area. I thought they were always going to have to be here, and it's not a great spot because this side does not get a lot of sun. The sun all comes from over there. So I have them on little wheeled, carts, and I rotate them to help with the sun, but they're kind of hard to turn, and I just feel like it'd be better if they were out in the bed area where they're going to get full sun all day long without me having to remember to do that little dance of turning them around. Here's some more baby plants, and as you can see, they're getting too big. They're going to seed, petering out. I really need my beds because, yeah, and I want to start more seeds, but I don't want to do it while I've got all this going on. In fact, what I could even do with some of these is pot up to bigger size, but then that's a space issue, because look how, I mean, this isn't completely filled, but it's pretty filled, and my other area was pretty filled, so I'm pretty much running out of space. Yeah, first world problems. So I'm still all shrouded here because even though it's been a while since we had a lot of rain, we kept getting these little warnings of little rain, and I never know what to trust. You know, sometimes they say it's just going to be this little bit, and we get a little bit more than I was expecting, and then I regret not covering. Sometimes they make a big deal, and then we just get spit on. Well, that's pretty much what's been happening. They have not made a big deal, but we've mostly been getting spit on. So lots of little droplets here and there, but nothing big. So I've got to open all this up. But again, this is not a priority. It looks really ugly, and I hate it. But if I start getting fussy with all this here, I'm taking my mind or my attention off of this, and this, my friends, is the big picture. So thank you for checking me out, watching my video. These videos, if you're not familiar with my videos, they're really a record for me to remind myself what's changed, what progress I've made, what's coming, what's in the future, maybe a chance to rethink some of my ideas as I go along from one month to the next. And I have to add that watching other people's garden videos has been such a help to me. I've learned a lot. They've been inspirational. I've gotten ideas. I've gotten charged up by seeing what people accomplish. They've been a resource that I never realized would be so beneficial. So I'm really grateful for YouTube and all that it's been able to help me to see in terms of the potential of my yard and the what was within reach, even with my abilities, which aren't great. So maybe I will be able to provide that to someone else. I don't know. I hope so. But in any case, thank you for watching. So if you enjoyed this video, you can give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more of my videos, you can always subscribe. But in any case, I thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next month. Bye.